know that it's painful. You know that it's costly. I watched a video on Catherine Kuhlman and I was so lit up. And she said, it will cost you everything. And you don't know what everything is because everything keeps being revealed to you every day. And just when you think there couldn't possibly be more to take, to shape, there's more. You are being taken through a threshing floor experience. The threshing floor is where they brought in the wheat and then they trampled on it with cows. And then they opened up the barn windows and they let all the chaff go. And they separated it. And then they put it through a grinder and refined it multiple times until it was the finest, most costly flour. They did it again and again and again with every harvest. There is a price to picking up your cross. Paul says, count it all joy when trials come. And you begin to understand what he's saying. Because when you're in a trial, that's when you can feel his peace. If you're already at peace, the kind of peace that man can give you through drugs and alcohol and pornography and relationships that come and go and the daily work that brings you money, this peace will leave you someday. But the peace of knowing that Jesus is in the back of the boat and he said you're going to the other side, and you make a decision to go to the back of the boat and lay down beside him and know you're going to arrive. He didn't promise when. He didn't promise that it might not seem like you're sinking multiple times. He only promised that it would be rewarding. So here it is. If you have said, just like Mary, be it unto me as you say, just for a moment reflect on her life after she said that. She got pregnant outside of wedlock. She could have been stoned by her husband and her relatives. She ended up giving birth in a barn, and then she had a show of favor. But that show of favor was so that her and her family could run to Egypt and stay there in the wilderness until it was safe to come back. And then her son grew up before her very eyes, and by the time he was 12, he was already letting her know, what do you mean, why am I not with you? I'm at my father's house. Where would you expect me to be? And she went through this process where she's no longer the primary person in his life. And she watches him grow up. She watches him being mocked, spit upon, hated, rejected. Multiple times they tried to kill him by throwing him off a cliff or stoning him. Everyone was against her son, and she watched it. And then came a day where she had to watch him die publicly humiliated. If this has turned you off of saying, be it unto me, I hope not. Because God used a woman to birth a man that changed the world forever. And he will use you the same There'll be days when you just want to put your head under the covers, but you won't. Because you know that if you don't get up and do everything you need to do to be prepared for what he's calling you for, you will repeat the lesson tomorrow, because he says, no one can take you out of my hand, and that means you too. Once you've answered that call, once you've started that process, no matter whether or not you go far away from that process, he will steer you back to what you promised him you would do. I pray that you have the fortitude to decide to go through your wilderness. And on the other side, you'll be a John the Baptist. You'll be like Jesus. You'll be Saul, who became Paul. You'll be a disciple. And it may or may not look the way you thought it would be, but it will be worth it, because you will see people healed. You will see people raised from the dead, and you will see people freed from their demons. You can't simultaneously be someone who needs those things and someone who is the conduit for God of those things. So he is going to remove from you those three things, and then he's going to send you out.